Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to talk about the test that avoidants use to choose a life partner. Now, you guys have been requesting more content about earlier stages of the relationship, and the test that we're going to cover actually typically happens more in the beginning stages of the relationship before they decide. It does happen in long-term relationships as well, but a lot of you guys wanted more early stage stuff. And so this stuff, the testing, happens a little bit more commonly in the beginning of the relationship. It can happen later, but usually it's not as common, or the weight is not as heavy. So even if you fail the test, if you guys have been together for like 4 years, sometimes other things throughout the relationship or day-to-day stuff overrides that. In comparison to in the beginning, these things are more fundamental or more powerful to the reality of the relationship. So the very first one is, well, actually, I'm sorry. Let's first talk about why avoidants do this. Avoidants often test individuals subconsciously. They're not doing it to elicit a response out of you or check if you like them. The test is usually a defense mechanism, usually linked to their fear of commitment. It is not because they're trying to see if you like them or if you're going to give them attention. It's something that they do to calm themselves down, okay? So it makes them feel, if you can pass this test, that they have less fear about the idea of committing to you. That's why they do it. It has nothing to do with you. Okay, it's not about you. And so I don't want you to take it personally. I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but I am saying this is something that they do, okay? So the first one is in avoidance saying, I don't want a relationship. Now, I think we need to spend a little bit of time on this one because a lot of people get really confused about this one or take it for, like they take it a couple ways. They take it as the avoidant doesn't like them and they want somebody else, which is not true. They take it as they can change their mind, which is somewhat not true, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Or they take it as they're just saying they don't want a relationship. How do I even say it? Like, they don't want a relationship now, but they may want one later, and so you kind of push and continuously push them to change their mind. The interesting part is actually that's the most truest truth. When they're saying I don't want a relationship, it technically is them saying now, but they don't really know it yet. And I'm not saying to deny what they're saying. I'm saying that it's a trigger. And so when you as an anxious preoccupied, let's say I give an example, you feel like nobody likes me, or how come nobody ever commits to me? Let's say you have a thought like that. You feel like that's very, very true. Like you believe that. But maybe in a couple years you heal from your anxious preoccupied attachment style and you don't feel that way anymore at all. So that's the exact same thing with this. I don't want a relationship is that. It's a trigger that they feel is very, very true, and it is true. But as time goes on and they heal throughout the relationship, that's no longer true. So that's what it is. So you can't badger them out of it necessarily, but you can help them heal out of it. But the reason why it's a test is because the phrase is often used, they believe they're using it to reduce the pressure of commitment. And so in their mind, they think if I say, I don't want a relationship, this person is not expecting a relationship out of me. Even if maybe one day I'll want one, I don't want them to expect a relationship because maybe I won't. I don't know yet. That's how they're feeling. It's not about definitively, I'm never going to get married, even if they act like it is. It's them reducing the pressure they feel about commitment, not how you're putting commitment on them, how they feel about commitment. And so how can you respond to which they feel like you passed the test or whatever you want to call it, right? How do you respond? You can say something like, that's fair. I appreciate you being honest. I would at least want something exclusive. Are you seeing anybody else? That opens the dialogue. Or you can say, I don't mind not labeling the relationship. We don't have to call it a relationship, but I at least want to know that we're not seeing anybody else or that we're exclusive. Something along those lines, to which basically it's like a pseudo relationship. So the reason why this is important is because it allows them to get more comfortable with the idea of the relationship. In their mind, the thought, the concept of a relationship, the label is what's triggering, but If they can get more comfortable with what a relationship looks like and they're in a relationship with you, even if they don't call it that, this is a sign that they're heading towards healing. If they start slowly getting more comfortable. So the best way to put it is they might not call you a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but they may be exclusive with you. That is very, very common. The other thing that sometimes happens is later in the relationship, they actually start calling it a relationship, even if they don't say girlfriend and boyfriend. And the strangest thing I see is a lot of avoidance. They actually skip over boyfriend, girlfriend label and they go straight into marriage. That I've just seen incredibly common. So the boyfriend girlfriend label, some avoidants think it's very juvenile or childish. Some of them might feel like it means that it's some of them actually might feel like it means that it's temporary, interesting enough. They feel like girlfriend boyfriend means that this relationship is more about pressure and expectations. It's not about love and connection. I know that sounds strange, but a lot of avoidants believe that. So that's kind of a little bit of what I don't want a relationship means. And so usually what to do is to expect or ask for exclusivity without the label of a relationship. And eventually those relationships become long lasting and it's more helpful and easier to lead to marriage in that way if you want to get married. The next one is I don't get attached to people. Avoidants may express this to assess if their partner accepts them for who they are. So a response that you can say when an avoidant says, I don't get attached to people, you might say, I appreciate the time we spend together, and I'll keep in mind what you're saying. I appreciate you being honest. Or that makes sense. I can see that, and I appreciate you telling me. I do still like that we spend time together, and I wanted you to know. It provides reassurance, but it also prompts them and challenges their negative thoughts, which is important in a relationship. They're challenging your negative thoughts, you're challenging theirs. That's how relationships work. The beginning stages with an avoidant is actually very challenging, but once you kind of pass the beginning stages of a relationship, the first year or two, it usually gets easier. Not all the time, but if the relationship gets easier around that time, typically it means that the relationship is going to last. Avoidants tend to stick to one person once they have that person, but they have a lot of barriers and navigation to get there, which is what we're talking about today. And the last one is I don't miss people. When you ask if they miss you, avoidants may claim that they don't miss people, and it's usually to avoid vulnerability. A respectful response can mean, I just meant, do you feel my absence? Would you be happy to see me again? Usually that they can answer that a little bit better. Now, as the relationship progresses, they will be more comfortable saying, I miss you. But sometimes what I notice is they say, you are missed. They don't say, I miss you, you are missed. And they do that with love too. You are loved. Let them be more comfortable with that. And then at that point, you can ask them, do you feel comfortable if you could just say this, I miss you? That would be very helpful. And so when they say, I don't miss people, it's just not true. It's just them trying to avoid vulnerability and to see how you're going to react if they're not ready to miss you just yet. Because they sometimes take a little longer to understand that they miss you. And so you just have to clarify, doesn't have to be the word miss, but do you notice my absence? Do you want to feel my presence again? Whatever it may be, it acknowledges their feelings without imposing. And so what are these tests? Let's summarize. I don't want a relationship. I don't get attached to people. I don't miss people. I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.